If you know me, I have had my fair share of controllers that I've used in the past. But no matter what controller I've reviewed, there have always been some pros and some cons. Until now.
I know, that's kind of a big statement to make.
This right here is the Hex Rival controller. I want to tell you all about the pros and the cons associated with this controller and whether or not I recommend that you buy it. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. So if you have never heard of HexGaming, well, more likely than not, you have heard of the company called Extreme. And Extreme actually sells a lot of the cosmetics that you can buy for your Xbox and PlayStation controllers. And one common theme, if you look at what Extreme sells versus what HexGaming sells, you're gonna notice that some things look kind of similar. And that's because Extreme is actually the parent company of HexGaming. What HexGaming is just the cosmetics all bundled up into a package such as this controller right here, and they ship it out to you, everything already pre-built. If you bought from Extreme, then you have to assemble it yourself, and what happened was that a lot of people didn't want to do that, so HexGaming was born, and now we have controllers that we don't even have to do anything, and it's all plug and play. And on top of the cosmetics that you get with a HexGaming controller, you also get this really cool back button attachment that allows you to press one of the front facing buttons using those back paddles. So now that I told you what HexGaming is about, let me tell you about this HexGaming Rival controller right here and why I think it might be one of the best controllers that are on the market today. So first, let's start off with the pros, and for the pros, as you guys can probably see by now from the intro up to this point, is the look of the controller. I mean, everything about the controller is fully customizable, from the touch plate to the D buttons to the front facing buttons to the thumbstick. You can change the color of that. You can change the color of the ring on the thumbstick. You could also change the grips, whether or not you want it to be like edgy like this or not. Of course, you could change the trigger color and also the back button attachment that is on the back of your controller. And from the colors, they have a lot of options from chrome to matte to solid, and they also have different designs in case you want to have a differentiating color scheme on your controller. Those are all a lot of the options. And you could also have like the touchpad of the controller with that design, while having the triggers a chrome color and then having your thumbsticks black or white. So you have so many options to choose from. So really and truly, like, every single controller is different. And aside from the cosmetics of the controller, you also have the option of adding like the quick triggers, which just makes it so that you can press the buttons a lot faster than if you had to hold it all the way down. You know, it's just a lot faster, and especially if you're playing like an FPS game where every single shot matters and shooting really fast really matters, then yeah, getting those things really do make a difference. And now to the star of the show, of course, it is the back modular. Now, I have used quite a bit of different back modulars in the past. I have used the Scuff paddles, which is 2 paddles on both sides. That was on my Scuff Infinity controller. I also had a HexGaming controller for the PS4, and that one had 2 buttons on both sides. And then now we have this one, which has a back modular piece with 2 sort of paddle-like structures on both sides. Now, these are fully remappable. You don't have to pay extra to get them remapped like the Scuff controller. And out of the box, they're not remapped to anything, so you do have to manually do it, but it's very, very easy process. You just have to hold down the button on the back, and then you just click on one of the front-facing buttons along with the paddle, and then you just get it synced up. Very, very simple and quick process, and I did it in less than a minute, I think it took. In terms of where they sit really snug with my middle fingers on both triggers. And in my personal opinion, I have always been a big fan of the paddle-like structures, like on my Scuff Infinity controller. I wasn't too big of a fan of the buttons on the last HexGaming controller I had. I do prefer paddles, so I'm glad that for the Rival controller, they did go the route of using paddles this time. And in terms of the actuation on these things, I have to say, it is super light. It's really easy to click, and that could be a positive or a negative depending on the person. Oh, and another cool thing, the thumbsticks are interchangeable. So if you want higher thumbsticks and you want something a little bit higher than what they're offering here, they have that option, and it's super, super easy to just detach and just put on a different type of thumbstick on top. and that's one thing I really did like about the HexGaming controllers. Now for the cons, I cannot say that there's anything specifically wrong with the controller. I actually do really like it, but if there's one thing that is gonna sway people from buying this controller, it's gonna be the price. 100%, it is kind of up there. Starting at $250, that is kind of on the expensive side for custom controllers. Then again, this is one of the first custom controllers to come out on the market for the PS5. I know Scuf still hasn't released their own version yet. I think Evil and Battle Beaver are the only two options you have right now other than HexGaming, and those two use a different modular system, so it's kind of like a fuzzy area to talk about. But this one right here that I am holding, this one ended up costing $325 after all the customization that I did to it. Of course, I literally changed everything you could possibly change on this. I added the back grips. I changed the color of everything on this controller. No part of this controller is stock at all. Even the ring around the thumbstick is red. It's not even the stock black color that you'll see on a PS5 controller. And of course, I got the fast shot digital triggers, so that was another cost on top of that $250. So in total, even with free shipping, it ended up being $325. In conclusion, I have to say, I mean, like I said earlier, I've used a couple different custom controllers, but as of now, this one has to be my favorite. I really do like it. There's really no con that I could see other than the price. The way it feels in your hand, I love the fact that the middle finger actually catches a whole groove on that paddle. It's not like a specific button, and if you move it off a little bit, you're not going to be able to touch it, or you might throw it off. That I have not seen an issue with. One thing I did see that was a kind of an issue at the beginning was the fact that it was super light, the triggers on the back, so it was kind of easy to click them by accident, but I got used to it very quickly, and fortunately I actually do enjoy it more, because in the past with my Scuf controller, my hand will catch a cramp if I play for too long, because those buttons were a lot harder to press on, so it would just take much more energy out of your finger to press on those buttons. It wasn't a big deal, but it was still a thing. This controller, since it's so light, you don't have that issue. And speaking of getting used to these custom controllers, I made a video last week on how to get used to any type of custom controller, so make sure you guys go check that one out. So in conclusion, as of today, I really do recommend this controller. I mean, it does exactly what it's advertised to do, and it does it in such a stylish way. If you're in the market looking for a custom controller and you have the money to spend on something like this, I would recommend to buy it. Definitely recommend it over the other two brands that are out there. And even if Scuf comes out with their own controller, I might actually just stick around with this one just because I like how this thing looks. I like how the buttons feel. It's super light, and I actually came to like it more than the past models with the Scuf controllers. And I had a HexGaming controller for the PS4. That was this chameleon purple bluish looking controller here. And this one, it didn't have as much customizations as you do with the current rival controller. The older HexGaming controller, it was only the front piece that was like a different color. It wasn't even the same controller as the PS4. It had a different shape altogether, and the back, it was like this cheap black finish, something I wasn't too excited about. And the fact that it had buttons rather than paddles, I was not a big fan of that at all. And it did have the fast shot trigger on it, but once again, that kind of got in the way of my fingers. But if you guys want to take a look at that video, I'm gonna link it somewhere up here. I think it's on this side or this side, I don't know, but yeah, click on that and you can take a look at that whole video review for the HexGaming controller for the PS4. But let me know what you guys think about this video and whether or not you think that a controller that looks like this is worth the money. I absolutely love the way it looks, and I actually spent a good amount of time asking friends and also asking my girlfriend whether or not the color scheme that I chose was the best, and I'm really happy that I chose this one. It looks amazing, and it's definitely different. That separates this controller from other controllers out there. But with that said, if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and if you guys enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe and like if you guys want to. But anyways guys, my name is Matthew. Thank you so much for watching, but as always, peace out.